Oh, okay. So did you push the?
Here's another reason why you want to take control of what you're doing.
Everything kind of funnels into the only one in move is not to play the game.
So I got to ask permission to buy the gun, and then I got to pay to ask permission to carry the motherfucker outside of my house. How about you go fuck yourself?
And suspiciously missing is co-host producer Jason, who hasn't been able to get on the intro yet, but we're working on that pretty soon. So
whenever
we left him out on purpose,
other than the passes on his opportunity to talk, we can't really clip him.
Yeah, we can't clip him unless he talks. So
he's talking right now, but somebody else is in the room, not us.
Talking to my kid.
No, I should just say it's all good.
You should just clip him saying, "I have nothing to say."
right after I say my thing.
Done.
God damn it. No, I'm gonna go into the studio one of these nights and record something and send it to you guys, and you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, that's dumb," and then you're gonna take Odermatt's suggestion and do the "I have nothing to say," just because you guys want to be pricks like that.
I think it should be "I have nothing to say" and whatnot.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Weather Report. And I want to thank you guys for being here, watching this episode.
Your burger today.
This is our bonus content with John Odermatt, and we're going to go completely in a different direction for this interview that we have with him, because John has recently left the corporate fabric of the society, of the economy, and he is now pursuing a full-time entrepreneurial push towards his wealth and prosperity, and it's a welcome. We love having him here. He's a great guest, and I'm sure that we're all going to gang up on him and ask him all kinds of questions on things that are pertinent to us making wealth and prosperity a part of our lives. Ken,
number one. Now that you've shed the shackles of corporate America, what was your job? What did you do?
Yeah, so primarily, my last job I worked in risk management. So I worked for a company. I guess I can say the name here. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, you're not there anymore, so
yeah.
Delta Airlines.
Unless you got an NDA or something.
Yeah.
Well, I actually kind of do, but this isn't going to be like public.
Berkshire Hathaway.
Well, it'll be public. Yeah,
it'll be public next week.
Oh, well, I won't say the name then, because I don't know. Who knows what could happen with different things, and
ExxonMobil.
Right, but what industry were they?
If I have to go to court or something. So it's a company that has a design for a small modular nuclear reactor.
No.
And
yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
and
don't we all?
I was the project management office risk manager. I was the entire risk management team. There were no other risk people. And they laid me off. So that's kind of.
So now their risk is not being managed.
Now they're totally at risk.
Yeah. So now they're totally at risk.
He managed it so well.
So the small nuclear device, that's the premise of the movie Red 2 with Bruce Willis. You guys seen Red? No.
An X-Men movie?
It's not really. I mean,
it's not an X-Men movie. No.
We dated girls.
It's a Bruce Willis movie.
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah,
it came out since all of y'all been married, so you can't say that.
I've seen it. But yeah. So did they hire Homer Simpson?
Yeah. No. Is he the risk manager now that you're not there, John?
I mean, they haven't hired anybody. I don't know if they plan to or what their plan is.
It sounds like
it was the most surreal experience. I'm full-time remote. Their office is on the West Coast. I went there a handful of times, but worked for them for 2.5 years, and it's weird getting laid off on the computer when you have your manager and just another his manager counterpart there, and you have my manager telling me, "You're doing a great job. I just been promoted in April." It's like, "Doing a great job. Sorry, we just have to lay you off."
Yeah.
So I don't know what else was happening. I mean, I've kind of reflected on it. I think there might be some underlying things where maybe some risks that I brought forward maybe might have rubbed people the wrong way. I'm really not sure. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a good thing in my mind, because it's giving me that nudge. It's giving me that push where I have to make this choice. I could go back and apply for another job in corporate America and probably have one in a couple of weeks, but ultimately the same thing could happen. I mean, there's no security when you're working for a corporation, particularly in this climate, particularly when I come on shows like this and speak my mind, or when I have a podcast and speak my mind. There's no safety blanket, right? But that's not to say like being an entrepreneur is some like magical thing where things can't go wrong. Obviously, deals can fall through. It can be a struggle to make money. So it's not all roses, right? So part of what I wanted to do was document, this move from being laid off to building up enough income that I've fully replaced my corporate income. And it doesn't hurt that, I already have several side gigs that are bringing in some money, not enough to fully cover, but, I have some different directions that I can go in, have some new ideas that I'm going to test out, which we can talk about those if you guys are interested. I know Bruce has listened to Pursuit of Freedom, so he knows about, one of them being making a foray into the ice vending machine business, which I'm pretty excited about.
Ice vending machine,
yeah,
like crystal meth vending machines.
No, if you've ever been to like a boat marina or like a beach town on the East Coast, they'll have these big commercial ice machines where you can either pull your cooler up, put in
They're on the
put
side
in
of the
some
road.
money, put your card in, fill a cooler, or you can get a bag of ice. They don't have them in Pennsylvania. And I mean, you can market it from a lot of different perspectives. You can market it, you can make it cheaper because it's cheaper to make the ice because you're not, making the ice and then transporting it and storing it.
Make
in
it
one
right
of
on
those
site.
things. Yeah, you're making it on site right there. All you need is electric and water.
Yeah.
Also, hey, it's environmentally friendly. It's good for the environment. It's green. Everyone's got to love that.
I remember
You're
seeing
you're
those
helping cool
in
down
New
the earth.
Jersey.
Yeah, and you're not
I'm
having the
talking.
bags. I've only ever
talking.
seen the bags at the gas
Arcos.
station. They got the big
Talking.
freezers with the different size bags. That's all that we have around here. We don't have any vending machines. That's why I was like an ice vending machine. What the fuck?
I think
Jason,
somebody
you
was
have something to
talking.
say?
I was talking, Harco.
Oh, sorry. You passed last time I heard you say something, so you passed on talking and asking
I've seen
questions. Now all of a
those
sudden you
ice
want to ask
machines on the-
questions. It's fucking crazy. I don't know if you're talking right now, or if you want to ask.
See,
a question.
Jason, the problem is that Harkos just won't stop talking
know
about
he
you
won't
and not talking when we were trying to talk about something.
No,
and
I've
what we're
seen
worried
those-
about is being burdened by the unburdening of the past for the future and our unburdenedness.
Yeah, and I'm just not trying to talk over
Bruce,
you.
what do you think?
I think that Jason should ask this question.
I hate all.
Yeah, I
three
just
of you.
don't want to talk over you, okay, Jason? So go ahead and just ask your question. Because if I wanted to talk over you, I mean, that'd just be great.
I've seen those when I was in Jersey. Ice machines on the side of the road. I remember seeing them. I'm like, what in the hell is that? Oh, they're ice machines. I'm like, that's weird, but they make perfect sense to have them because you don't have to go to a gas station. There's right on the side of the road. You stop, you get the ice you need, you take off.
It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you make the stuff on site, then you don't have to worry about it being out unless there's power outage. We put a generator next to it or something like the Tesla superchargers have.
Then you've got
You know.
a water dispensing unit.
Well, yeah,
When
exactly.
the power
But I
goes
mean-
out, you can still get water.
right?
And you're
yeah.
helping cool down the earth by making
That's right.
ice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
There's that.
I'm combating global warming.
you're creating more ice so the icebergs don't melt. That's
And
it.
John, it's the perfect juxtaposition at podcasting and ice machines. I mean, it's just the link is just right there. What an obvious leap jump from one to the other.
You know what would be great with that also? Every time you buy a bucket of ice, you get a "How dare you" sticker.
There
That's
you go.
There you
That's
go.
true.
There you
go.
There you go. Pull that banner out right now. Anyway,
Yeah,
John, so you are like us. We all four of us met during our stint with Jason Stapleton, and you were also in the Jason Stapleton lair at one time, if I remember right. You and Mark. I don't remember if Brian was ever a part of it or not, but you come from that stable. I've known you probably about the same amount of time that I've known these jokers here. Are you taking any of that advice that Jason Stapleton, because I know that you've had personal conversations with him before, you ever take any of his advice and all that stuff and put that together in your own entrepreneurial endeavors?
I mean, yeah, I've listened to his podcast. It's been a little while, but it's funny. Like a week after I was laid off, I'm on his email list too, and I got an email, from him pitching a what was it? How to starting a consulting firm. It was like some sort of. I'm like, well, this would be kind of interesting to do. I'm like, it's not really the right timing though to do this right now, but because I mean that's another direction that I could potentially go in, either from. I think it would be a lot of work to get one started up to do risk management consulting on my own, but it's something I might do down the road. But like podcast consulting, I think that's something I could get fired up, like B2B podcast consulting, because there's so many businesses out there that, and I've done some pro bono consulting on this with a marketing agency. They don't know anything about how to get a podcast off the ground, how to find guests, how do you market it? How do you grow it? So, and there's money in it. Like if I'm going to do any podcast consulting, I don't want to go to just a person or a group of people who are trying to start a podcast off the ground with no funding. I want to go to a corporation that, can budget $50,000 to start a podcast.
Right.
You're in the business, so you know how to do it.
Boy, are you in the right place?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually in his Jason Stapleton's program on that, and it's really good. So yeah, whenever you're ready to take that plunge or whatever, hop in there because yeah, I mean you already know of him and stuff like that, but at the same time, like he's really helped me develop a plan for my stuff, and where I was kind of like. I feel like I'm missing like a blueprint, like I got all these different things. I'm trying to get everything taken care of and put it all together, but I'm trying to figure it out. And he helped me get that blueprint and then just basically build, like, he's like, all right, here, do these steps and then let me know. And then do these steps and then let me know. And then we just kept going like that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Ken, I'm talking. What the hell?
Is that what that noise is?
Yes, I can attest that also. I mean, I've been listening to his podcast since 2016, and he's always talked about to start something on your own because you never know when your day job's going to wind up ending. And I was always the person, yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I should do that. Yeah, I should do that. Well, finally, listen to him enough. I finally got the kick in the ass to actually do it. And he's helped me to where I'm actually growing it to where I'm actually fairly busy right now. Not enough to where it can be my full-time job, but maybe another year or two it will be. Who knows?
And John, to give you some support, I guess, I in the 90s left doing any kind of work because I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad with my daughter. I had a out of wedlock. We're married now. We did divorce backwards. We did the divorce first and then get married. Works much better because I got all her stuff. But
you just get the divorce out of the way.
We got it out of the way, and we got married. I got all her stuff. So instead of her getting half of mine. But anyway, what I had done, I was custom painting motorcycles at the time. So I set up a little shop. I mean, it was like the most raggedy little shop in my garage, but I had really good quality work. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And it was a roller coaster of, just feast and famine. Some weeks I'm $5,000 in debt, and then all of a sudden I've got $20,000 in work, and it's just like, oh my God. But we figured it all out. Having done that, it's once it starts to work, it's really, really cool. And I ended up getting out of that just because of it, because I was doing so much work. It started getting noticed with people, and the headhunters found me and said, hey, you got to come work for these people. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I haven't turned back, but I always had something on the side. My dad was a musician, and he taught school because he had 5 freaking kids to raise. And so he taught school for the regular thing, and he'd come home from school and he'd write music compose and arrange music, and then you go out and play gigs that night. And so he kind of instilled that in me that, always have something, because you never know what's going to happen. And my good friend Corey, that some of these guys have met, Corey with the Mustang.
Oh, yes. Nice guy.
So he worked at 3M as the corporate identity manager at 3M for 28 years. Then some new management came in, there was layoffs, and they wiped out his whole department, including him.
It's all
28 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's in the C-suite, fractional C-suite business. And he started a company a year ago called Brand Articulate, where he's doing consulting for companies that are in the $10 to $20 million range that want to build their brand to be a $100 million company. So it's the same kind of thing. Everyone has their own levels of where they're going to be at. But, once you decide to make the leap, that's the hardest thing. Sometimes the decision is made for you. Like you said, you could go get a new job, but you could just say, you know what, I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
And with your talents and your experience, my God, I can't imagine it's going to be too horribly difficult. I mean, there'll be trials, but
yeah, you should be fine. I mean, I've taken the jump twice now. First time was in the middle of 2020, and things were okay for a few, and then it went to shit, and then it was a rocky road or whatever, and then I went back to another job in the middle. It was like the end of 23. The end of 22. I went back and worked for somebody, and then I just left again in April and started doing my own thing again. But this time it's actually going better, because the first time I didn't really have a clear plan on what to do. But now I actually have a lot more of a clear plan. So it's but yeah, it's not easy. I mean, shit, I've been out all fucking day just driving all around town just to make some extra money in between, sending people messages on Facebook and stuff like that, trying to build rapport with people and all kinds of shit too. So
it's not easy. It's not easy.
So John, go ahead. John, you've always had.
I'm done. You have permission now for me, Bruce, to speak. Harkus and Ken do not, but you have permission for me to speak.
It's not easy, John, but it is fun.
It is fun.
You've always had your hands in something else. As long as I've known you, you've been you
no
got
Diddy.
me into the
no,
Plexus.
You're supposed to say no Diddy after you say something like that, Bruce.
You got me into the Plexus business, but you've also had your hands in many things before that. And so tell us what your pre-journey has been into just staying with corporate America and having a bunch of side stuff that you're going on, into the fact that now you're going full bore into it. Just go ahead and give us a kind of an oversight or a summary.
Yeah, I think, I think Harkos brings up a good point. It's like a big part of it for me right now is figuring out my plan and what I want to put my time into, because there's a lot of different things I could do, but ultimately, which one is going to produce income? There's a lot of, I could make, a bunch of new podcasts and start producing them, but they're not going to make me any money probably. Some things that I've done, like land investing or vacant land flipping, where you buy land really cheap from a distressed owner, and then you sell it, you flip it on seller financing terms to try to max out the value on it. I've made good money doing that, and it's just figuring out how to piece this all together. That's something that I did for years, and just because of time constraints with my job and doing everything else with the podcast, I kind of didn't do it, which is probably stupid. Like if I was going to be entirely focused on how can I just make the most money, I probably would have stopped doing Lions of Liberty and focused everything on land investing and Plexus. But at the same time, if I would have stopped the podcast, I would have cut off a lot of my networks. I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. So it's like a trade-off of, you still want to leave yourself open, even if I do some things where maybe it's not an immediate return, understanding that there's still value there, and hopefully I can help other people can help me, and there can be some mutually beneficial networking that happens by doing these things like podcasting that might not give me a monetary return. I mean, Lions of Liberty pretty much breaks even, but I have met a lot of people that have reached out to me for help with their health, for different things, which then I've been able to, get them different supplements and help to build my Plexus income stream up. So
Well,
kind of all over the place, but.
I got 2 questions, actually. One of them is one I actually was talking to these guys about Thursday, but real quick. So the buying the land thing, that actually might be something that you could start doing here very soon, because with the way that the market is going right now, like I was telling these guys the other day, I have been seeing more and more houses go up for sale here recently. And I live here in Indiana, right? So, I mean,
Minnesota too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, where Bruce lives, California, everybody's trying to get the fuck out. But like, it's really weird because most of the time you'll see a lot of houses on the market at the beginning of summer, right? Because traditionally people don't want to move in the middle of school year, yada yada. But like, school is starting up, and I'm seeing more and more houses. It's boom, 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 boom. Like I so many more than what I just saw 3 weeks ago. And
bubble burst.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there might be a pop and a correction, and that might be a good opportunity to start investing if you have the capital for that. But one thing that I was telling these guys about the other day, whenever he was like, "Oh yeah, we got Odermatt coming on, blah blah blah," and stuff like that. I always I asked these guys, I was like, how did these guys, like, your podcast is popular, but all y'all have regular jobs and you never left that, and like you just said, it breaks even. Like, how have you guys not made it to where it was more than breaking even, to where it was supplying y'all with a quarter to half of your income, for all y'all together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question. I think
I'm not trying to like disrespect you at all. I'm just asking a serious question because I have podcasts. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I think it comes down to, we have 2 of us now, but we had 3 of us, and when you have 3 people in a partnership, you need to have everyone on the same page for different things. So I mean, and I'm not pointing fingers. I think we made mistakes with how slowly we started up a Patreon. We missed out on like a huge wave where we could have made a lot of money up front, and maybe with that money could have grown even more. And then I think the other thing is just kind of like naturally, we've kind of missed some of the waves that could have taken us up to like a Dave Smith level or even like a Liberty Lockdown level. Because just the way things worked out, like Mark fell out with the Libertarian Party, and then Mark wanted to get out, and then I've kind of fallen out from the Libertarian Party. So a lot of people have profited off of like, oh, we're going to be a Libertarian Party podcaster, and we're going to speak to that audience. And I've kind of realized I don't want to speak to that audience anymore.
Me too.
That audience doesn't that audience doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like Dave Smith says, they're a book club. They might as well just be a book club. Yeah, I love when I heard him say that. I was like, oh fuck, that's exactly right.
It is.
All the people
you read his books. You're not a libertarian.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you need to read this book though, Jason, because this book will really help you get your fucking.
Well, I can't read, so there's that.
Exactly. Me either. I can't read. I listen to everything on audio. But no, that's curious that you said that. I mean, I could definitely see where you're coming from with having, it's not a solo podcast. You guys all have equal interest, even if it's only 2 of y'all. If one's not, I mean, if you both aren't 50% in, as well as 50% each on board with the direction you want to go, then it doesn't really move that well. Especially when it was 3 of y'all, and that's even worse. But
yeah, like for example, and this is just one small example, and this is not a criticism of Brian or Mark. This is just reality. Like, there's different things that from a self-promotion standpoint that it would benefit me if I could promote it on the Lions of Liberty podcast. For example, when I had a coffee brand, Run Your Mouth Coffee, when I was trying to get that going. But it was just my brand. So in order to figure out how to promote that on the Lions of Liberty, like I would have to pay or would have to work something, some sort of revenue split up, which we could just never figure out. So it does get more complicated. You know, if it was the three of us who had the coffee brand and we're trying to grow it together within the podcast, that's a lot easier. But there's different things like that, you know. And that's really that's one of the reasons why Mark left. It wasn't on bad terms, but he kind of just decided, I want to see if I can, you know, make podcasting my full-time job, which I don't think he failed, but I think he figured out that he was making more money doing other things, and now he's taking a break from podcasting.
Right. And I mean, that happens. I mean, Jason just shut down his podcast too. You know, Jason Stapleton just shut it down here recently too. But it's because he's wanting to shift to other things. Because, and the way he was saying it too is that, you know, he started off in one lane and it's merged over the years, but it's still, it just doesn't do it for him anymore. And that sometimes happens. But yeah, I could definitely see where that could run into being a problem because, you know, especially if it's not a dynamic like what Dave Smith has with Robbie the Fire, right? With Robbie Bernstein. Like Robbie is just sitting there, he chimes in and stuff like that, but it's Dave Smith's podcast, right? And yeah, Robbie's a big part of it. They go on tour, they're friends, all that kind of stuff, right? But when Dave goes on Rogan or on Piers Morgan or sits down with fucking Cenk Uygur or whatever, when he does that kind of shit, he elevates himself, but he elevates the podcast because it's, you know, it's the Dave Smith podcast essentially, right? Yeah, he's got his co-host and stuff, but whenever it was you guys with Lions of Liberty, like you guys were like a 3-headed Hydra, you know, or a 2-headed Hydra. Now it's like if one of y'all go out and do promotion, that's cool for the podcast, but like it's not on your name individually when you're going out.
Exactly.
So that could be interesting. But so what about in the way of like advertisers and sponsors and stuff like that? I know you said it breaks even and stuff, but it's not too terribly expensive to have a podcast, you know, but
we're a little above breaking even. I mean,
okay, well, that's positive.
We're not losing money. We're definitely making money every year.
That's good.
I'm
just saying, like, did you guys run into any issues where some of the things that you would talk about, like maybe the Sandusky thing or whatever, got some people that didn't want to do business with you anymore, or it made it hard with you being a libertarian podcast to find sponsors and stuff?
I think maybe the second thing,
probably
for sure. But it's interesting. Our newest sponsor, Above Phone, where the interview is coming out tomorrow on the 12th on my show. It's a privacy phone, so it's built on a Google Pixel, and
nice.
You can, you know, take your SIM card from your existing phone and put it in, or like for me, what I'm doing now with it, I have one. I might switch over entirely to the Above Phone, but I have an internet phone number on it without a SIM card that you get the first month free, but I'll have to pay $5 a month to get it. But I can text off that number if I have Wi-Fi. I can call off it with Wi-Fi.
Well, that's cool.
I can do video calls off of it, and it's all secure. It's all encrypted, and you can go out still and get like your traditional big tech apps if you want to. That's really not the point of having the phone.
Yeah, that kind of does away with the security.
Every app that you get, though, it's like when you go to the permissions, it's all in your control. You can click off like what you want to allow the app to do. So it's really cool. And that, and that deal there is, it's pretty profitable. It's $50 off for anyone who buys an Above Phone, and then we would get $75, which I think that's the ticket for podcasting and creating income, is getting, high paying affiliate deals like that.
Yeah. We're waiting for our first affiliate.
so that's an affiliate program option. Okay, go for it.
Okay, John, are you a Android user?
No, I'm an iPhone user. So
okay.
This is
smart man.
So going back to your whole Android thing, one thing that I've seen on some IT groups, because I work in IT, is that when you are an Android, you're the admin. When you're an iPhone, you're the user.
Yeah.
And with all the permissions, you can see that completely.
Mm-hmm.
And having that having a privacy phone like that is going to be key, especially for libertarians. So they should really reach out to you guys for that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I honestly think I'll just start using, at least for now, using this phone like for all of my Lions of Liberty stuff. Put all my emails through there, all my Telegram, conversations and everything like that. Just kind of see how it goes. I don't know. I might switch over fully, but it's interesting, and especially with all the shit coming down the pike now with potentially Kamala Harris winning, and
oh my God,
it's going to be a
super stoked.
It's going to be a big time surveillance state if that happens.
So, Harkos, you now have permission for me to talk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, you said that that's an affiliate deal that you have with them.
Mm-hmm.
What about any like direct response type of marketing or no, it's not that. It's direct read marketing where you actually you're just getting paid to just read their ads and stuff like that. Like, do you guys do any of those as well as affiliates, or just only affiliates?
Yeah, we have some here and there. We've had a long running one with Crowd Health.
Okay.
Which is, I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yep.
It's not health insurance, but I think Dave Smith started.
Yeah, I was going to say, I listen to Dave. Yeah. No, I've heard about them.
They were advertising with
they're
Jason
good.
too.
They're really cool. The CEO is a really cool guy, and I honestly don't know if they're making any money off of us doing the ad reads. Hopefully they are. But he's like, I want to support you guys. You guys supporting us, and we've had him on the show a bunch of times. So,
but if you are a Mustafa in Lions of Liberty, then you can have your ad read.
Do we still have that? I thought we took that
I
away.
don't know if you have that or not. All I know is I'm still giving you $5 a month. So
Just that. So
I know as somebody that our company, and I don't talk about my company or our company that I work with much, just because we do too much political stuff and I keep it away. But we buy podcasting. And so Harkos, from the buyer side of things, as being an advertiser on podcasts, it's the wild fucking West. There's you'll talk to one people like there's a local podcast, Garage Logic. It used to be a radio show, then they went to a podcast. I know who that is. And their buy-in for podcasting was $750 an ad. They want 13 weeks, 5 ads a week, plus $500 for the personality to read it, or $1,000 if you get the host. And I'm like, you guys, this is, that is so far away from worth it for our company. They're selling it in this. I'm like, you can't prove it to me. Right. And then you get another guy that's $25 a month, and you're making bank off this guy because he's directly to your customer. And we use a share a sale is the program we use, and that's our affiliate program. So basically, if you put the link on your website, someone clicks on there and buys something, they get 10%. Once a month, they get a check for 10% of whatever bought. Now, when our average buy is $500, our average customer for our products, that there's people that are making thousands of dollars a month just on clicking through and having them buy something. Yeah. So I'm with you on that, Matt. It's just just to have the affiliate end of things is great because it's continuous. It's not just the ad read, because just the ad reads and stuff like that are great. But what we found is if they're not, most podcasters don't understand how to do an ad read. They'll stop the show, they'll read the ad, and then they'll go back on. Well, everyone just fast forwards through that. The guys that we're really successful with are the guys who just talk about the product. They're doing an ad. We're getting our 30 or 60 or 90-second ad we're doing, but they're incorporating it into the show. That kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. You make it an entertainment. You don't say, okay, we're going to stop here and go. I solely listen to podcasts. I don't listen to the radio at all. And I've got my little 15-second button. I go right through the ads because I can see where they're going to be,
Like these Reddit stickers?
So you're saying that you fast forward through the ads on my podcast. I see how it is.
Yeah, but
how it is.
Except for mine.
You'll listen to yours.
I listen to mine because I want to make sure that, I'm getting my money's worth out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I just want to interject real quick. So every time you guys see me stand up and walk back there to my little easy bake oven, this is what I was doing.
Oh yeah, that's a good design, man. I'm glad that you.
Yeah, I know. Sold like 50 of them, have you?
I sold more than 50.
Wow, nice work.
Exactly.
You got the walls when you showed. show John the walls one if you've got one of the
I
walls
don't
ones.
have. They're out in my car. I
Oh,
don't have
see, we can't have nice things. Those are popular today. So he had a walls one he made called would it say Tampon Timmy on it?
Yes, Tampon Timmy.
And there's
Yeah,
one picture. There's one picture of Walls that everyone in Minnesota knows. It was one is he was like
He's yelling.
He's yelling. It's this one picture that was everywhere that the Republicans used.
It in the background. It's got like a city burning, and he's saying "Burn, baby, burn."
Yeah. And so he brought it to the car show today, and just to kind of a little test market. Everyone loved it. They're like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
Somebody posted on
Minnesota.
Twitter yesterday, watch Tim Walz with no volume. What does it remind you of? It's Hitler. I mean, you look at all the arm motions, it's crazy.
John, you started a new segment in your podcast called Pursuit of Freedom, and it has a format that is just different than any other podcast that I have listened to, and I enjoy it. Actually, Harkos does a similar one. What he does in between his flagship podcast for his music, Making Sense podcast. Tell us about the Pursuit of Freedom and what it's all about, and what your purpose is behind doing that for your listeners.
Yeah, and then after that, I want to know what the fuck you're talking about that I do. Anyway, go ahead, John. Sorry, because I'm lost what you just said about me.
Yeah. So Pursuit of Freedom, it serves a couple of purposes. One, I'm going to use it to hold myself accountable. So, initially I was like, I'm going to do a Pursuit of Freedom episode every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because I have my regular episode every Monday. I've kind of realized in the past 2 weeks that that's probably not realistic. It's probably more likely it'll just be 3 days, at some point. I'm not sure which days it'll be, but the point of it is jump on there, give something that people can use. First of all, like give them a tool of some kind, be it maybe an article that I just read about entrepreneurship, or about something in that space, or a podcast, or a software, or something that can be actionable, something that people can hopefully use, or at least look into. The other piece of it is I want to talk about what I'm experiencing, some of the things that that I've tried or that I've worked on in the past day or so. I want to talk about maybe some of my failures that have happened, some things that are holding me up, some things that are, maybe making me panic a little bit at night when I'm laying in bed, thinking if I'm making the right decision. And then also talk about, my plans for the next couple of days. What are some things I want to knock out? And that's really the holding myself accountable piece of it. But it's crazy, Bruce. I've gotten more people reaching out to me saying that they like the podcast for Pursuit of Freedom on my Finding Freedom feed than I have recently for my Lions of Liberty feed, which there's a lot more listeners on the Lions of Liberty feed than that Pursuit of Freedom feed. So it just makes me think that it's really resonating with people.
Well, yeah. That's what Jason said happened to him too. Jason Stapleton, to keep bringing his name out here to name dropped on this episode. But he said the same thing, is that he had a lot of listeners whenever he was the Jason Stapleton program, talking that libertarian shit. Mm-hmm. And then anytime he would talk about entrepreneurship and actually taking action instead of just talking and having book club meetings, then people would be like, oh, let's talk back about this or whatever. But once he made the switch and said, hey, I'm not going to do that no more, we're going to be strictly entrepreneurial, like a lot of people left, but there's a lot of people that still stayed, because there's a lot of people like myself who was like, yeah, that sounds, these guys too. We're all like, right. Yeah, that sounds much better. Let's take action instead of just bitch and moan and complain.
Talking about it and which book you should read.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All that stuff.
We came for the liberty and stayed for the capitalism.
Exactly, because liberty is capitalism. Capitalism and liberty. So, I mean, maybe that's what you should possibly think about doing as well. Because aren't you starting like a whole podcast called Pursuit? Or are you just doing that as a segment within Lions of Liberty?
Yeah, right. So I've there's two feeds. There's the Lions of Liberty Network feed, and then Brian and I each have our own solo feeds where previously I would just post my Finding Freedom episode in both places. But now I'm starting, to post 3 or 4 days a week my Pursuit of Freedom series. Maybe I should, eventually just rename that channel to Pursuit of Freedom. I don't know. I don't know if that's really important right now because, like you said, it's not really about growing numbers per se. It's more about making connections, and I'm making connections, so that's what counts.
Yeah. To clarify, Harkos, I listen to the Music Making Sense podcast a lot.
Yeah, you're one of 5.
But basically,
is that still on?
I like the content. I like the content is there, but I don't identify as much with some of the guests or some of the subjects that you have. But then but in between those weeks that you have shows, you have your walking out into the wilderness, your 10, 15 minute, whatever diatribe that you do on there. I get more out of that podcast than anything that you do on the Music Making Sense podcast, only because of the fact that, you're out there in your element, you're walking around, you're talking truth. And as Ken said, you start out with this small crescendo, and by the end of it, you sound like, Reverend Ike.
He's like a preacher.
You're ready to bring
Baptist preacher.
Thunder.
Yep.
But I mean, it's really, I think those 10, 15 minute segments of realness, like John's doing and everything else is just really, really, it interests me. I can absorb myself into something like that.
What you need to do is take that last 60 seconds when you're doing the Baptist preaching and make that a reel, make that a YouTube short.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I know I do. I have reels posting every single day to all the platforms and everything like that, even over on X and everything like that. So I chop clips out of those walks as well as the main podcast episode and have them go on different things. But yeah, okay, I thought that's what you were talking about was that, but I was like, wait a second, but okay, that makes sense. But John, you're essentially you have a vlog. Essentially, is what you're doing with your entrepreneurship.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which that's what people say. Whenever I'm doing my stuff too. So that makes sense that people would like that because people like watching that. They like seeing the success, and whether or not you sound like a Baptist preacher or not, that's a different story.
And the struggle.
Yeah, the struggle.
Because purely our X Spaces in the morning is purely just to get content out every day, and it's us 4. We get together and we just, we're more candid. It's not part of the flagship show like it is here.
I try to stay the same all the time. You guys keep saying, "Oh yeah, you're more fluid. You're more." I'm like, I try to be the same every time.
I think we've been a little bit more loose on that podcast than anything else, but we try to keep on focus on a topic or something when we're doing this podcast, other than the fact on Monday through Friday mornings we're doing things from the news, things that we think are dumb. I'm a comic book retard, as far as Jason is concerned, because I don't know anything about Deadpool, but
you're like a 1-year-old learning how to talk when it comes to Marvel Universe. Basically, that's where you're at. But, you're like, oh, I've heard of Captain America before. Like, geez, fuck.
Who's that silver guy? Is that Deadpool's father? No, that's freaking Colossus, you idiot.
Bruce, that's exactly where I am too. So we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Me too, Bruce.
Oh my God, no, Colossus was introduced back in the 70s when Bruce was like 93.
Yeah. Jesus, Deadpool's father? Nobody knows who Deadpool's dad is, man. He's like a reject ex-special forces dude who's trying to figure shit out.
Anyhow, back to John.
Yeah,
because this show's about John, not about us. But anyway, John, I really like that pursuit. I like the accountability of it. I think that goes a long way. Personally, I'm not into accountability as far as into somebody else, but as far as saying what I post on Facebook sometimes on a weekly basis is kind of an accountability post to me. It's just like, hey, I don't hate you for this or that or anything else. This is what I'm really talking about. Blah blah blah. We're more alike than we are different. Stuff like that. So I mean that part of accountability I kind of like, and it really resonates with me with your show, man. So I just wanted to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the idea of making it a journey is going to be really cool to watch, and having, like you mentioned, to have the good and the bad be reported upon as you're going through it. That's going to be real. Now I'm all excited. I just subscribed to it, so I'll be listening to it for the next. That's my next week's commute, is catching up on it.
The hardest part is, like, initially I'm like, all right, I'll just make it like 5-10 minutes a day. It'll be easy.
Oh, no.
But then I just start talking. It's like, what? I've been talking for 15 minutes. What the heck am I talking about? Like,
I know how that is. I know how that is.
Like Harco.
Yeah, everyone here but Jason understands that.
Yeah.
If
If Jason talks too much, his face starts getting really red, and then he's got to take a breather for a little bit, get back to Casper level on his face. So,
My God.
So is there any other stakes in the fire other than consulting or Plexus or anything else that you're pursuing other than that? Any other ideas you're going on?
or you have thought about making your own nuclear device now?
Other than the cool ass fishing trip you just went on, because I really want to go do like some really good fishing up in the Northeast and stuff like that, because walleye is pretty freaking cool.
yeah, walleye is the most delicious freshwater fish.
I have never caught one yet.
What?
They
Really?
fight, too.
You've lived in
It's a fun
Canada
catch.
your whole life. You've never caught a walleye?
You're closer to Canada than I am.
No. We went over this. You got the accent. We went over this map.
I do not
All right.
have an accent.
John?
I live in Minnesota. I do not have an accent. I'm from Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. I do not have an accent. I have never caught a walleye yet. I've caught northern. I've caught bass.
Oh, northern
I've caught
Wisconsin.
perch. I've never caught a walleye yet.
Wow,
That's my question.
Yeah,
I don't hear an accent. I gotta be honest. I don't hear.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have an yeah. Harkos has got an accent because he has urban vernacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, my urban vernacular, exactly.
Just answer the question, John.
No, I mean, I think we hit
Ignore
everything.
me.
I mean, the most interesting part of it's a couple interesting parts. I mean, it's the most uncertainty, I think, is will I be able to build something up here with consulting, around podcasting and/or risk management. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see what happens with the ice vending machine. That could unfold quickly. I'm hopeful that it can, but there's the dynamic that we're going into fall and winter, and it's like, should I put this off until the spring, or should I just say, fuck it, put the thing up now, and then just know it's not going to be as good, but at the same time, people are getting eyes on it, and then it's probably better in the spring. That's probably the way to think about it.
Probably, yeah.
so-
The eyes on it now.
Yeah. See, it's helpful just to say these things out loud. It's
That's the way I would
think
go.
through.
But then again, I'm always wrong because my wife always says so.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, though, Jason. Come on, you should know this.
You're in a perfect marriage.
Yeah, exactly. My wife always says I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. But
We'll go around one more time to the panel, and anybody else who has questions for John about where he's going and where he's going and
Yeah.
where he wants to be, let him go.
let me go first.
Did you have a question, Jason?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
So
would
go
you-
ahead and give him
would
your
you guys
question.
Shut the hell up for 5 freaking minutes. So,
Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. We'll shut up.
God damn, I hate you guys.
Go ahead and ask, Jason.
Oh my God. Go into the whole thing on supplements with Plexus and whatnot. There, I said it, whatnot.
Well, there's that, but Bruce muted my mic.
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
I'm messing with you.
But
I thought it was Bruce. Anyway,
going to the whole Plexus thing with supplements, I'd have to say that supplements are ungodly important. Only because, as you know, John, I've got the motherfucker gene, or the MTHFR. I also have PTSD and anxiety, and I ran out. And since I have the motherfucker gene, or the MTHFR, I'm supposed to be taking methylfolate. Drawing a blank now. The
methylfolate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be taking that every single day. And so I ran out, And I noticed that my anxiety and anger was creeping up when I quit taking it. I started taking it again, and it went right back down. So supplements, whether they come from Plexus, they probably should come from Plexus. But all that stuff is ungodly important. And that stuff you can get without a prescription, and it helps you out so much. Just taking the L-methylfolate helps me out a ton, as well as anything else I'm taking. But I could not believe how much of an impact that had on my anger and my anxiety and everything else when it ran out. It was insane.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
What was that?
We need to talk.
Yeah. And see, so John, for a little background on Jason, he got that PTSD and stuff like that from when he was in an enforcer in the Russian mob.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
I thought you were going to say from this show is where it came from.
No, it's when he was a enforcer in
Mushroom
Mushroom Rob. That's when he got his PTSD. And, you know, he actually, the reason that he has celiac is because he was an enforcer at the Russian deli. And he just had too many sandwiches one day. And then now he's got celiac, too, on top of it. And then that gave him PTSD, too, because now he's afraid of fucking bread. It's crazy, man. It's so insane.
Okay, so just a heads up for you guys, my last name is an adopted last name. It's not my real last name.
Yeah, it's real Chechnyov or something like that, right?
It's
I thought you were a ski this whole time. That's why I talked to you slow. Small words, you know.
God damn, I hate you.
And he speaks and see there's a term for your dialect, Chris. It's called Wegrobonics. I googled it and that's what it came up with. It's Wegrobonics.
That's probably exactly right.
It's I think that's it. That seems
Well,
like
there's plenty to talk about in the supplement arena, and I've been into it for now 3 or 4 years with John. John got me into it. So any questions that you have, you can throw to me or John about that, you know, offline, and we're happy to help you out because we're always happy to help somebody else out to get themselves in line. You know, Chris has been into that realm a lot. You know, being a manager of the what was the vitamin shop?
I was working at Vitamin Shop for a couple of years, and I've been
and then
before and after too.
He eats so clean, he doesn't need anything. So, but you know, some of us who can't help ourselves and have to, you know, eat what we do, like bacon and pork and bacon and more bacon on top of bacon. We need those kind
bacon
of supplements.
Is good. Bacon
is pretty damn good. So
turkey bacon is pretty good. You guys are right.
Turkey bacon is not bacon.
There's no such thing as turkey bacon.
It's pretty good. It comes right off the belly of the turkey.
Yeah,
it's not even meat.
Ken chime in on that one.
Yeah, turkey
That's
bacon.
Like a soy boy thing.
I don't know. So Bruce was out here, John, in June, out in Wisconsin here, and he passed on some gateway drug, the we put. I can't remember what it's called. I don't have it in front of me.
I gave a whole thing of Active.
Great stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm almost out, so I'm gonna have to put it in order now.
Yeah.
So John, I'll be calling you.
Yeah. Well, you can call Bruce, but I mean, the thing with supplements and the thing with Plexus is, you know, like you were talking about, Jason, you can just make an impact in someone's life in a positive way. Like Bruce, similar to you, like you got big time help with your acid reflux.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy who, you know, we were friends when I lived out in California. I haven't talked to him for years. And, you know, something he posted on Facebook about his acid reflux or GERD, and he was having to get surgery. So I reached out to him. We talked for months. He ended up he had to get whatever the surgery is where they like tie up your stomach so the acid can't come up.
Sure.
He ended up getting that, but then he started on the gut health regimen that we do, Bruce, where it's a probiotic, magnesium-based supplement, and then a prebiotic drink. The guy is off of all of his meds. He's having no symptoms. And it's just freaking crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy when you look at the power of like proper supplementation, being able to cancel out these pharmaceuticals that probably led him to having to get that operation because it suppressed his stomach acid and his body's saying, we need more stomach acid. We need more stomach acid.
Right.
It's just nuts.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
thing with
crazy.
like Prilosec and all that shit. Like, what's really crazy is,
Addicted.
yeah, you will get
Yeah.
addicted to it, but you're not supposed to take it for after a certain period of
14
time.
days.
Yeah,
14
exactly.
days.
Exactly.
I
But
quit
you
taking
have
that
people
stuff,
that
too.
you have doctors that will keep prescribing it to you.
Yep.
Yeah, I quit taking it. I cut out carbs, and my acid reflux went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because it
took me
creates an
15
acidic environment with all the when sugar creates an acidic environment in your body, especially in your gut, and bread and carbs and shit like that. I mean, that's all sugar, and
That's all it is.
yeah, and so then that destroys the positive gut biomes, which I'm sure I'm doing a plug right now for
Right.
Plexus. It
Yeah.
destroys your positive gut biomes and creates negative ones, and then that's what causes constipation, IBS, and all that bullshit.
Leaky gut.
Uh,
It
Leaky
does,
gut.
but
Yeah.
I also have a lot more respect for people who know what the MTHFR is, and John knew what it was.
We all,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
well, we all know you're a motherfucker, so we are.
Well, I mean, 'cause of it, kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm there a lot too. I get it.
Yeah. Well, when I did my 30-day expose on it on Facebook, between the 12th, I think it was between the 12th and the 15th day, is when all my symptoms started subsiding, and then by the end of the 30th day, yeah, it was. I'm not going to say, hey, I was healed, but I mean, I had no symptoms of acid reflux anymore, and if I do have acid reflux at all, or I haven't had an attack like take my breath away, stand me up in the middle of the night from my bed, choking on my bile because it came up.
God damn.
I mean, that's how bad it was.
That's excessive.
I haven't had an attack like that in 4 years. And on top of that, if I have had any type of acid indigestion or something like that, it's because I was being a dick and I just ate too freaking much, So I ate a whole pizza or I ate a whole thing of spaghetti or something like that. I mean, that's my fault.
All the tomato, yeah.
But as long as you're sitting there and you're doing your diet, you're taking care of yourself, exercise wise, keeping true to your supplements and stuff like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And to tell you the truth, the reason why I take the supplements to begin with right now is not only for the acid reflux, is because I do eat wrong. I mean, I do eat things that I probably shouldn't eat, but I don't eat them to excess anymore. It's not a diet. I mean, it started, sometimes that we kind of push this out as a dietary supplement as far as, enhancing your diet and your weight loss and stuff like that. But there's so much more to it when you're talking about your gut biome and the way that it talks to your brain and back and forth. There's a lot to be said about that. And we can do this on another show, but that was my whole experience with John and the reason why that I've stayed with Plexus so long, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So that's another one of those entrepreneurial things that we can go on. If you guys want to be able to reach out to either me or John, we'll be happy to even get you in the business on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cults are fun to join. So
there we go.
It's a good cult. If it's a good cult. You don't want to join a bad cult.
Yeah, Bruce, get out of the Bitcoin cult. He just said it, okay? He said don't join bad cults.
No. Not going to get out of the Bitcoin cult. Yeah.
I'm slightly in the Bitcoin cult too.
Anyhow, anybody else have anything to say to John before we wrap this up?
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And thank you for spending the 2 hours with us. That's very generous of you. We appreciate it. Apparently you've got time now, but we appreciate it anyway.
Absolutely. Well, we'd like to thank John for being here. And like I said before, we all are entrepreneurs, and we all want to support each other. So just make sure that you keep listening to this podcast, The Wood Report. Keep listening to John's podcast, Pursuit of Freedom and Finding Freedom. And for that fact, go to the Lions of Liberty website and go check out all the Lions of Liberty content they got there. Brian is hilarious. I'd love to have him on the show. Haven't talked to him yet, but I'm going to try to get him on one of these days. Other than that, I just thank you, John, for being here. We'll do this again and bring you on often because you're one of my favorite guests that I like to have. This is like the 5th or 6th time you've been on my podcast, so it's a fantastic. You're a fantastic guest, man. I would just like you. Good luck with your entrepreneurial exploits, and we're behind you, man. So anytime you want to network, anytime you need some advice, anytime you just need a shoulder to go like, hey, what the hell, let us know.
Yeah, and I got to say, I'll have to have each one of you guys on Finding Freedom too to talk about your businesses and what you're working on entrepreneurially.
I'll come on whenever I can talk.
Anytime.
I know.
Anytime.
I'm well aware.
Yep. If you have us one at a time, you can actually have a cohesive conversation. Too.
Yeah, because then we're not saying, "Hey, Jason, lay off the tomatoes. You're starting to look like one." We don't, we won't have any jump cracks like that or nothing. You know.
Yeah, Jason will be a short show. Jason will be about 2.5 minute show. So.
Yeah, that's a
I
short
hate
bumper
you.
episode right there. It's like,
I hate
okay,
to
so
preview.
while we're waiting on the oil to get changed real quick, go ahead and listen to this Jason podcast real quick. We're at the 5-minute oil change place.
Jesus.
Thank you all for being here. You can catch us tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard
You guys are
Time
getting it
on our
tomorrow.
X Spaces. And then next week you can catch us on our regular time for the weather report, YouTube, Rumble, and then on your favorite podcast app. We'll see you later. I leave you with this. Have a great night and be good to yourselves, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.